Hey, it's Allison from Computers.mom with some power tips for managing Gmail labels. If you're already using labels in Gmail, you may have encountered a couple of common problems. I'm going to show you how to address them. One very common misconception is that when you label an email, you're storing it in a folder. That's not how it works. Labels in Gmail are just like tags that you add to the mail to make it easier to find. In our first video about label basics, we showed you that if you want to label an email, all you have to do is select it in the message list and then click this button, the Labels button, to choose from all of the labels you've created. You can just check them off and click Apply, and then the message is labeled. But since labels are not the same as folders, that email is labeled, but it's not hidden away. It's still in your inbox, and you have to take a second step, which is archiving it in order to get it out of the inbox. So that seems like a waste of time. Luckily, you can label and archive the email all at once by using the Move To button right here instead of the Labels button. Notice the difference though. The Labels button has multiple checkboxes. When you use Move To, you can only attach one label to that email conversation. You get a confirmation at the bottom and the option to undo the process if you want to. So that wasn't hard, but there's a bigger problem that comes up when you use labels a lot, which is you start to have too many of them, and you spend a lot of time scrolling through the list of labels looking for the one you want. You can fix this, but only in the browser. Here's why. There are two fundamentally different ways to access Gmail. One is through a browser like Chrome, Firefox, Safari, or on Windows, Microsoft Edge. The other is through a mail program or app like Apple Mail or Outlook. These options are available on Macs, PCs, phones, even tablets. Why does that matter? Because certain features of Gmail are only available in the browser and other features work a little bit differently depending on how you access them. I can access that same Gmail account in Apple Mail where the labels are called mailboxes, or in Outlook, for example, where the labels are called folders. So you can read and write and do all the everyday stuff in Gmail either through a browser or through a mail program. But while you'll be able to see your labels either way, you can only manage them by looking at Gmail in a browser. So let's do that. I'm demonstrating in Chrome on a Mac here, but you can use any type of computer or any browser. So quick review of the lay of the land. Your labels show up in the labels list on the left over here. They also show up when you're in a browser on the message list here in the main part of the window. Then across the top we have the inbox categories, which are optional, so you'll see them on the left here and across the top if you're using them. When your label list becomes too long and unwieldy, you basically have three options. Remove the ones you're not going to use anymore. Nest together ones that are related, and hide the ones you can't remove but you don't need to see right now. So to do that, we have to open the Manage Labels page, which we can do either from one of the Labels buttons up here, or at the bottom of those menus, or on the left-hand side at the bottom of the Labels list. No matter which one you click on, it'll take you to the same page. This page might seem intimidating at first glance, but it's pretty simple once you get the hang of it. All the labels you have available are listed here in three groups. First come the system labels that Google provides for everyone, like inbox and sent and drafts, spam and trash. Those are all system labels. The next group is categories. Those are the ones that are optional sections of your inbox we mentioned before. And the third group is all of your personal labels that you've created, listed alphabetically. And for those, you can also see how many conversations have each of those labels. So for example, my example label is applied to 15 email conversations. Next to each label are a bunch of options, like remove and edit. If I remove a label in the Manage Labels page, that label will be deleted, but any mail, any conversations that had that label won't be deleted. That's different from in a mail app like Apple Mail or Outlook, where if I delete a mailbox or a folder, the mail that's contained in that mailbox or folder is also deleted. So, important to know. Another technique for organizing your labels and making the list a little shorter is to nest them. So, for example, I can edit the Costa Rica label and make it a sub-label of travel. Grouping labels under other labels in that way can make your list more compact. But the really useful thing you can do on this page is to hide labels. That's especially useful for system labels which don't have a remove option. So if there are labels that I don't use very often, like snoozed and important in chats, I can click hide and they disappear in the label list on the left. Even better, I can decide to show them only if there are unread messages in them. That option, Show If Unread, is only available for certain folders like drafts and spam. If I hide them, they're always hidden. But if I do Show If Unread, they show up in the list if there are unread messages in them. Like this spam folder has one unread message. If I delete this spam message and the folder's empty, then spam doesn't show up in the label list until there's something new in that folder. So you can show or hide labels in the label list, you can nest them under each other, you can have them only show if there are unread messages in them, but there are two other options here. You probably will never use show or hide in message list. That's a pretty rare option. However, show in IMAP controls whether or not your labels show up as folders or mailboxes in mail apps. So if I uncheck these first three, ABC Committee, Alaska, and Aruba, and they're not going to show in IMAP anymore, look what happens when I go into a mail app like Outlook. I've slowed this way down so you can actually watch them disappear. There they go. So those labels still exist in Gmail, they just won't be visible anymore in your mail apps. Two last tips for working with labels. First of all, avoid the temptation to label everything. The search features in Gmail are so powerful that you really don't need a lot of labels to find things. Second, you don't need to create a new label every year. See these tax labels? 2015, 2016, 2017? Any messages that are under a label are already sorted by date, so just keep a taxes label. Don't bother with the individual years. So that's enough about labels for today. Thanks for watching. Feel free to leave comments and questions below. If this was helpful, please click the like button and subscribe for more useful tutorials.